At that moment, he realized that he was not in a very good position. Gathering his strength and will into a fist, he swung his sword once more and cut the mutant woman in half. But before he had time to defeat this zombie woman, another creature appeared from the fog and wanted to grab him by the neck with its tongue. But at that very moment, his younger sister appeared in front of him and grabbed this creature by the tongue. At this very moment of despair, windows on the floor began to break and military death squads burst into the building. Led by their leader, using firearms, they destroyed one zombie after another, blowing off their heads and leaving no chance of victory. Lady Death skillfully used not only firearms, but also everything that cuts and stabs, which is why she was nicknamed Lady Death, because she destroyed everything that moved and threatened her life. Liu Feng was shocked by what he saw. After all, he couldn't even manage to destroy monsters so quickly, furiously, and accurately. After the death squad destroyed all the zombies, the squad leader ordered no one to move and remain in their places. After she saw Liu Feng with her sister, she said that they had been looking for them for a very long time. And she decided to introduce herself, saying that her name is Li Xin, and she is the captain of the God of Death Squad. Then she asked Liu Feng for forgiveness, saying that the girl behind his back was their target. A second later, the same fat man whom Liu Feng hit came out from behind the wall. He said he needed help because he was bitten, and he was bitten because the soldiers took too long to come to his aid. He is a friend of the mayor and a level 2 VIP user of government protection. After he saw Liu Feng, he said that he had just hit him and also wanted to force him to go out to the zombies so that they could eat him. Liu Feng, in his defense, said that this bastard was blaming everything on him on purpose. After which he asked the soldiers to shoot him because he was insulted and he is a person of the second VIP level of protection. The captain of the squad of the God of Death, Lixin, without thinking twice, put a gun to his head, saying that if he said anything again, she would shoot him in the head. Suddenly, one of the soldiers intervened in their dialogue, saying that the zombies had started moving again, which was strange because they did not die from a shot to the head. Before he could say this, the zombies began to attack with their long, dangerous tongues, killing the soldiers one by one. Liu Feng realized that this was a great chance to escape. He took his younger sister and Sarah by the hand, telling her to show the way to go up to the 16th floor. Meanwhile, Li Xin saw the same zombies, mutants from the research institute that she'd been told about earlier. Liu Feng was constantly apologizing to everyone for getting them into this whole mess, because the soldiers had come to capture his sister, and he was supposed to protect her, and now he was putting the others in danger as well. The girls said that there was nothing wrong with this, since they believed him, because soldiers only save people with VIP status. Liu Feng was happy with what he heard, and thought that it was good that he had met such good people. He wanted to let them enter his hideout. Suddenly he stopped and froze, because he saw that Zhao Hua had been bitten by a zombie in her hands. He didn't know what to say to his sister because he didn't want to disappoint or upset her. Suddenly, behind him, he noticed the approaching fog, and the system said that a zombie mutant of a high level of danger had been detected. Raising his head up, he saw on the ceiling a terrifying, scary mutant zombie whom he had never seen before. The system recommended that he flee. At this moment, the terrifying monster stared at all the people below in anticipation of their death. Meanwhile, Liu Feng accidentally touched Miss Sarah's hand. Her eyes and thoughts were clouded by love for him. She couldn't believe that he felt something for her. She leaned towards him to kiss him, but he stopped her, saying that now was not the right time for kissing. Then he took her by the waist and pulled her closer to him, thereby saving her from the zombie attack on the ceiling. He ordered her to go to his little sister and stand aside while he dealt with this monster, after which he took out his sword from behind his back and, thanks to the fiery flame, cut off the heartburn tongue of this mutant zombie. After he cut off the tongue of this mutant zombie, he saw that behind him 2 zombies had broken through the wall and were trying to attack him from behind. Using his sharp sword, he turned around and pierced the head of one of the zombies, after which he pierced the head of the other, but the zombies kept getting bigger and bigger, and before he could kill 2, he noticed that 2 more were approaching them. Kara wanted to run away, But seeing Liu Feng's sister's big eyes and the fact that she was scared to death, Sarah decided to hug her and at least protect her this time. "Don't just run away." Kara closed her eyes, preparing to die, when suddenly the Death Squad commander Li Xin burst onto their floor, and she saved them by shooting off a couple of stupid zombie heads. But this did not help them at all because the zombies kept rising and rising. All they could do was run. Liu Feng asked the military commander where her people were, to which she replied that everyone had died, and she managed to survive thanks to the invisibility cloak. Liu Feng could not understand why they encountered so many mutant zombies on their way, because the system said that only one mutant zombie could appear in a building per 100,000 people. But only 5 have already appeared here. Besides, these zombies always feel if something is wrong. At that moment, a mutant zombie broke through the wall, grabbed Zhao Hua and began to devour him, leaving not the slightest hope of saving him. His sister was very worried about him and didn't want to leave him, so she wanted to help him. But Liu Feng held her hand tightly and did not want to let her go, saying that her brother had already been bitten and could not be saved. Then, with tears in her eyes, she turned to Liu Feng and asked him what he would do if it were his sister. At that moment, he began to think, and Zhao Jia let go of his hand and rushed to save her brother. At that very moment, Liu Feng felt helpless for the first time, because he could not protect her brother and could not stop her. Li Xin told him not to worry. It was better to think about how to save the others, because she was already running out of ammunition. The kid got an idea in his head. He grabbed his sword, lit it, and lit up the room. And oh my God, he saw that mutant zombie that was hanging on the ceiling was actually a puppet. He told Li Xin that the mutant on the ceiling was behind all the action. This zombie is like a deep-sea anglerfish. It controls the zombies with its tentacles, and they do not die. That's why it seemed like there were so many mutant zombies. She realized that in order to defeat all the zombies, they need to destroy only one, the one who controls them. Liu Feng's younger sister also did not stand aside. She took and threw against the wall the zombie who wanted to eat her and Sarah. What made Sarah simply horrified by what she saw? Liu Feng, without thinking for a long time, threw his sharpest sword into the tentacles of this zombie, thereby cutting them off completely and destroying it. Notified him that he had committed the first murder of a mutant zombie, and the system awarded him 100 points. He was pleased that there was at least some kind of reward for this, after which he thanked Li Xin for his help. Li Xin was happy to help but pointed a machine gun at Liu Feng and a pistol at his sister, saying that his sister is not an ordinary person. She has such power because she is a mutant, and although they worked together, she is very sorry, since her task was to take his sister. Liu Feng wanted to tell Li Xin that she was targeting the wrong person, but she told him not to move because she would shoot him before he did. He just pointed his finger at Sarah, wanting to say that she had nothing to do with it, when Li Xin shot and killed her. At that moment, she realized that it was awkward and her vision was failing her again, thereby giving Liu Feng a chance to attack her, which he did, using the Kung Fu Master Chip. She tried in every possible way to dodge and counterattack, but after a moment, she realized that he fought well in close combat and mastered Kung Fu. Liu Feng grabbed her neck with his hand and began to interrogate her. Why did she want to take his sister? Li Xin replied that she was just a soldier and was only following orders. Li Xin threw Liu Feng over her shoulder and then straddled him. At that moment, Sarah came to her senses. She was not killed because the bullet missed her temple, only turning her off. Rubbing her eyes, she saw that Li Xin wanted to kill Liu Feng with his dagger, and without thinking for a long time, she realized that she needed to block the blow. Therefore, she had no choice but to kiss Li Xin to confuse her. After it prevented the fight with her kiss, she stood up and said that it was enough to fight. She didn't understand anything, since now this was all completely out of place, and asked them to follow her to Office 16F. Entering Office 16F, they found the director of the hospital in it, who, like all the other people, had turned into a zombie. Without thinking for a long time, Liu Feng pierced his head with his sword so that he would not pose any threat to them. Sarah went to the computer and said that she was the director's secretary and had heard something about a military research project codenamed Son of God. She also said that the Minister of Health, Chung Ting-hung, ordered their hospital to conduct research on simultaneously injecting the virus and serum into patients with black blood to create mutants. Hundreds of people died during the experiment. Today it was supposed to be Liu Feng's sister's turn. She also said that the survival rate in this experiment was less than 0.1%. Therefore, Shin Tong mutated into a special mutant, and this is what brought the death squad to Zhongtianxiang City. Liu Feng could not believe that his sister was a mutant, but remembering what happened just 10 minutes ago, when after he killed the mutant, she approached him and took out the so-called mutant chip from his body. After looking at it literally a few seconds later, she simply took it and ate it. He wondered if she could be read by a human after what she had done. The system interrupted his thoughts, saying something, why they came, and this energy core is in the safe behind him. Thanks to the fact that Sarah was with him, who knew the code to her boss's safe, they opened it and received the energy core. He also received 900 bonus points for completing this task. Sarah asked Liu Feng what kind of cube is this, to which he replied that this is an energy core. He thought about it and decided that she deserved to know about his hideout. He told her that he had a shelter where it was safe. Since Sarah and Li Xin had nowhere to go, he invited them to join him. Having said that, why go back to this zombie world? Why don't they both join him? Then they can survive this apocalypse together. Sarah happily accepted the offer, since she had nowhere else to go anyway. Liu Feng admired himself, thinking that very soon they would be praying to him like a god. Before he could rejoice, Li Xin's rude voice came from behind him saying that she was refusing, after which she said that, to be honest, she needs to be sure of everything first, and if so, then she will apologize to Liu Feng. But this does not mean that she will join them. Besides, even if the government collapses with her abilities, she will be able to survive in this world on her own. Sarah and Liu Feng were shocked and didn't know what to answer her. But after a second, he said that she was right. He was just a boy. But he has enough reasons to force her to join them, the renowned goddess of death, Li Xin. Li Xin said with a grin on her face that she was interested, and he had 5 seconds, for which he should try to convince her, but if he dared to play with her, then he is a dead man. He looked into it and saw a playboy there. He got very tense and thought again, until he realized that she was a military man, and in order to force her to do anything, or for her to stay with them, he must be older than her by rank. He decided to use the bullion to make an ID out of it. After which he said that he no longer needed to hide. In reality, he is a special government agent and also the person in charge of the fire-starting project. He said he was in charge of building a doomsday shelter called Kindling the Fire, the fruit of humanity's last hope. Li Xin was furious, saying that if he decided to make fun of her, she would kill him. Liu Feng then took out his ID and asked her to scan it. Li Xin scanned the ID, confirming that he was indeed a level 5 authorized person whose status was classified. But she didn't care, because she understood that inventing a new identity for herself during the end of the world is easy to do, so she cannot be sure of this document. Angry, Liu Feng said that the end of the world had come. Therefore, she cannot even think that she can drag out her miserable existence alone. As a soldier, she must bravely stand up and go forward, saving humanity and trying to restore peace in these troubled times. To sum it up, he said that she was not worthy of wearing the title of a good soldier with her evasive behavior. After everything she heard about herself, and not only, she took Liu Feng by the shoulder and thanked him for the words he had just spoken. She said that yes, she is a soldier, and really has to do something for humanity. Moreover, he dared to invite the goddess of death Li Xin to join him, and this greatly touched her. The system notified him that 2 people had joined his hideout. Authority plus 10, 200 points added for unlocking 2 comrades. Li Xin said that her fellow soldiers did not live long, and he not only dared to become her like-minded person, but also dared to invite her to the team. She really hoped that he would stay with her much longer. Since Sarah joined Liu Feng's team, she decided to make some contribution, which is why she was brought to the cafeteria on the 16th floor of the Research Institute, to which she had the keys. Since the cook went home because he was going to get married, he gave the keys to her. After logging into the system on his mobile phone, Liu Feng looked at the data on his girlfriends, whom he had recently accepted into his bunker. He saw a line called Relationship. The system answered him that when the relationship is shown in green, it means that the object is well disposed towards the shelter. If the relationship is shown in red, it means that the object is hostile towards the shelter.